Hello, this is John from the Haunted Informer.
This is Glenn from Fall Ritual.
And this is episode 9 of Fall Informer. And today we have a special guest, Aidan from Haunted Hills Estate Screampark.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? You know who it is. Aidan Finnegan here. I was supposed to be joined by my wonderful business partner, Mr. Will Wakefield, today, but he had a emergency come up at the Aurora Institute. So unfortunately, I'm just flying solo today. But we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. I'm so excited to be on. Thank you guys for having us on. And yeah, let's get spooking.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us.
Brace yourself, Pittsburgh. We're back. Now with 6 all-new haunted attractions. Giant monsters, haunted midway games, and more. It's time to get out of your house and have fun getting scared safely. Get your tickets now at hauntedhillsestate.com.
So Aidan, when did you first get into haunted attractions? What was your first experience? And I'm going to go into a follow-up question because I know you have a huge, not like a Halloween collection, a haunt collection. So
a haunt collection? No, these things just appear behind me.
So when did you first get into the haunted attractions? What was your first experience going to them and getting into the acting side of it?
Oh boy, I mean, well, if you really want to start at the beginning, my grandparents, when I was a young child growing up on Long Island, New York, used to take me to this place called Wick's Nursery in St. James, and right near Stony Brook. They used to have this little walkthrough called Spooky Hollow. It was a bunch of old school Halloween decorations set up in a greenhouse, and they had this gigantic witch that was built out of a tree stump, and the nursery has since closed, actually, but they're doing a GoFundMe right now to actually restore the witch as a landmark. So that's actually really cool, and I really appreciate that because that's a big part of my history. But the bug definitely bit me early on. I was a toddler going through this thing, and my grandparents would just take me back to this thing because they didn't know what to do with me. I mean, come on. It was the fall. I would just keep going back through this thing, and eventually it got to the point where all I would talk about would be Halloween. It's been a lifelong passion, and my grandparents started getting me, Halloween decorations and little animated figures from Walmart from every holiday, my birthday, Christmas, and my parents hated that. My parents have never really understood this Halloween thing, but my grandparents were always very supportive of it. So then flash forward into let's say through my preteen years, I started seeing all the advertisements and stuff like that for the local attractions on Long Island. When I finally was able to go to them, I was of that age, and there was that time when Bayville Screampark was opening up, and there was a lot of hype surrounding that. And I used to see those going even further. I used to see the advertisements on TV all the time for Rich Hamp's House of the Living Dead at Sports Plus in Lake Grove. For you guys who know anything about the haunt industry history, Rich Hamp was one of the original Boo Crew, and he ran a huge haunted attraction on Long Island for a good amount of time. So just seeing those commercials was very formative to me. And when I started getting into my teenage years and my preteen years, middle school to high school, before I started working in haunts, I started home haunting and realizing, hey, I can kind of do this. I can do the things that I see in haunted houses and make cardboard tombstones with stucco on them, and figure out if I place this red light over here and this green light and this blue light in different places in my yard, I can get that kind of effect. And eventually my parents grew tired of all the gruesome decorations I had made on my lawn, so it was just kind of like, what do I do now? Oh, okay, you know what, I'll go work at a haunted house. And then I started working at Schmidt's Farm on Long Island with one of my mentors, Rob Frankenberg. It was this thing called The Experiment, which was, if you guys have ever been to Disney World or Universal Studios, those simulator shows that you wear the 3D glasses with,
Yeah.
It was just like that, but with live actors too. So you're here in this big experiment. You're sitting on these benches. You're watching the screen. Things are coming off the screen. The characters are interacting with the screen. There's air cannons overhead, water spitters hidden in the walls. There was a poison prop in the middle of the room. So it was quite an experience for my first year ever haunting, and it was great because I just got the full experience. I got to see how it was produced. I got to start helping them with the actual production of it, besides just acting. So I mean, I really dove in when I was given the chance. And then a couple years after that, when I got into college, I started doing a charity haunt, or I partnered up with a charity haunt that was pre-existing on Long Island, and I helped them grow. I think they quadrupled their attendance in that first year I was involved. That's Wrestle Souls Haunted House in Huntington Station, New York. They're still in operation. Great guys. It benefits Long Island's one of the few LGBTQ-friendly churches on Long Island, so the money goes to a great cause. And then after that, I just started forming my own companies. I was with Grave Gear Studios for a while, doing audio for haunted attractions. I worked for Chambers of Hell in New York for a little bit, and eventually just found my way to Pennsylvania because I was doing sound for them originally, and they took a look at my resume at Haunted Hills Estate Screampark, and they were like, "We want more from you. You can do all these things. Do them for us." So I signed a 1-year contract, and by the end of that first year I was employed by them, we had rebranded into the Screampark. We had our Christmas event was featured on the Travel Channel, and by the end of that first year, they made me a partner and gave me a long-term contract. So things have been going very well for me. And after the HHE thing, my partner and I from New York, Will, formed Aurora Interactive because we saw that the event, the effect that our marketing had for rebranding and pretty much breathing new life into HHE Screampark. And we figured we could do that for other businesses because Will has a advertising background. Will has been working in advertising for ad agencies and media buying agencies for most of his life. So with our powers combined, we've been able to offer these services to quite a few clients, and we got a bunch of clients at the Transworld Haunt Show this year, and we're going to be announcing those shortly. But we're very excited to be offering our services to clients across the nation now for their marketing and rocket powering their attendance.
That's awesome, man. That sounds like a lot. That sounds like a playful you got going on of like trying to help out with doing your thing.
Yeah,
And
I mean, and plus we have more things too, which I'll talk about later. So it's like people say I have 5 or 6 full-time jobs, and that's honestly true. I mean, I don't sleep anymore. Coffee is just life. I'm 1% blood, 99% coffee.
But that's awesome. You get but it's like not 5 jobs you hate. It's 5 jobs you love doing. So it's awesome.
I mean, I'm a part of a very small minority of people who get to say that they truly work full time in the haunted attraction industry, and I'm very grateful for that. It's very stressful at times, but I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, I had worked for fast food, I worked for retail, I worked in a law office at one point, typical jobs, and now that for the past 2 or 3 years of my life, I've been able to do this full time. It's stressful, so I wouldn't trade it for the world, but if anyone's looking to do that full time, it's very hard to do it, and it might take the fun out of it. That's something that people commonly experience who work full time in the industry. So, word to the wise.
So my first question for you is, out of all attractions at Haunted Hills Estate Screampark, which would you say is your favorite?
Oh boy. All right. It's a tie because the house, which is, I mean, that's the fan favorite. That is obviously the strongest attraction that we have out of our all of the things that we offer here. And it's just a beautiful attraction. A lot of artists have had their hand in it, and every year, I mean, that's the one that gets that gets the cake. But personally, my favorite, and this might be the runner-up to the house, would be Experiment 31 because it's pretty much my baby. It goes in line with the storyline and the lore of the Aurora Institute, which if you followed any of the remote horror experiences that we do ARGs at Aurora Interactive too. It all fits within that storyline of this kind of Stranger Things-esque kind of Lovecraftian meets totalitarian like New World Order that runs out of they have their hand in everything. And if you've seen Stranger Things or you know anything about the Montauk Project and Camp Hero, you're going to see a lot of the inspiration from that. It's a lot of mutations and a lot of almost kind of culty stuff too, mixed in with a heavy dosage of like 80s B movie sci-fi. So I love that. I love the campy stuff, and that's what a lot of that is.
Nice. So you've done lots of off-season haunts. You've done lots of them. And what would you say out of all of those did you have the most fun creating? Because you've done lots of them. You've done it for Christmas, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. So,
oh man, it would be a tie between the Valentine's Fear Fest that we did this year, as well as the St. Patrick's Day Massacre, which we debuted this year. Valentine's Fear Fest is great because we can get a little bit adult, we can get a little bit raunchy because we do have one 18+ house, whereas we try to keep everything PG-13 with everything else we do. But with that, we were able to at least just have some implied dirty humor and stuff like that. And it was a great mix of gross out gore and comedy. It was like Hellraiser meets Hostel, and that was a lot of fun. And we were able to get away with doing a little kind of obscure characters, some very abstract, creative, different characters in the house with the family theme. And it was great. I mean, a lot of people weren't prepared for it. They were freaked out. They were laughing. It was a great time. But of course, being an Irishman myself, I got the mug here and everything. I mean, come on. I got the killer leprechaun back there in the corner of my kitchen. I mean, St. Patrick's Day Massacre, it was just great because we had an invasion of killer leprechauns in the house. And then we had an Experiment 31. We essentially made it into a tribute to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch with the Silver Shamrock Corporation. And the whole thing had an overarching storyline, too, that followed you from the first house to the second about gold mining. And we put in a lot of, like, Irish folklore, too. So it was something for everybody. And it was really different. And I think everybody had everyone had fun. It was great.
what I really liked is that I saw from your St. Patrick's Day haunt, it wasn't just leprechauns. I like that you went into other mythology with it.
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of research into Irish folklore. We had different banshees and sprites, and we had a changeling. And it was our own version of a changeling. One of our artists in house actually made a baby changeling, which was adorable and terrifying simultaneously. And when you were walking through the scene, the changeling woke up. And it's just like we had to go. I wanted to go in so many directions with it because after 5 rooms of leprechauns, I mean, where are you going to go from there? I don't want people to get bored going through. So you go into the second haunt, which was the Shamrock Corporation, which had the gold mining machinery in it that was running off of, like, we literally built Stonehenge in the last room. It was cool. Awesome. But there's leprechauns attacking scientists and technicians. I mean, there's more than just, hey, everyone's a leprechaun.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I want to keep you on your toes. I want to show you things that you haven't seen before, things that you wouldn't want to see, perhaps. But, that's what keeps people coming back.
Yes, got to keep it interesting.
You mentioned that you guys were on the Travel Channel for your Christmas one. Like, what special was that? What type of Travel Channel special was that?
That was actually... That one was it was a list on their website that they compiled of the 10 top Christmas haunted houses in the United States. And there were some really great ones on there. There was, I think, Dark Hour in Plano, Texas was one of those ones. So we were in there with a lot of great people. But for me, I mean, it was a really big thing because I grew up watching, the America's Haunt series and America's Scariest Halloween Attractions.
Yeah.
I mean, I would come home from school when I was like in junior high, or like from the time, I think that came out when I was in like the 4th grade. I had this like TiVo, this DVR. I don't know if anyone remembers TiVo anymore, but that was all that was on it. I would just watch those obsessively day in, day out. So for me, I mean, it was just kind of like, my formative years, my dream coming true. There's our haunted house on the Travel Channel's top 10 list. So
that's awesome. I have to check out that list. I didn't know if it was like a TV thing, because like you said, they do the TV ones, but that's awesome. It was on the website. Well,
it's been a while since they did anything that was actually like video related. I know they had some little web episodes a couple years back with Gunnarolla, but like it's been a while since they've done another like series about going to lots of attractions they actually put on their channel. So, even getting that web list was just, like a godsend for me.
That's awesome.
Nice. So since you do a lot of marketing with your company and for Haunted Hills Estate Screampark, which do you prefer doing? TV, or do you prefer doing parades where you get to have the Haunted Hills Estate crew?
Okay, so my thing with TV, I went to school for radio and television broadcasting. That's what I have my college degree in.
Nice.
There are some markets, and it differentiates. You know, we have some clients that they realize that TV is dead in their area, but there's also some clients in different parts of the U.S. where TV still is a, you know, it's a form of advertising that works very well for businesses. It has a very high ROI, and that's not the case in a lot of other areas. So it really is a regional thing, and it depends what works best with the client's market. You know, we're not going to tell a client that, you know, has had good success with doing TV and radio advertising, you know, not to do that at all. I mean, that would be stupid. But for a lot of places like Long Island, especially, a lot of these major metro areas now, for the most part, it's TV and radio are not what they once were. Now parades are great. It's a great form of like supplementary advertising is what I would call it. It's a good publicity stunt. You're getting out there in your major city and you're coming out there with some kind of impressive float, impressive costumes, however that is, to show, you know, to really give people a taste of what you're going to bring to the area, especially if you're debuting. And it's definitely one of those things where people can see you from that parade, and then of course they see your Facebook ads or whatever it is, your TikTok ads, Snapchat later on in the season, or getting closer to your opening. So it could be. My theory is people are going to see you 5 or 6 times before they hit that buy ticket button. So it's a great way to make a good first impression. Of course, you got to have your logo all over it. So, you know, for people taking photos and posting online, it's going to get that traction that way and spider web out. But again, marketing is it's not a one and done deal. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to run a newspaper ad and be done with it. You have to be well-rounded in your approach. So I would say it's equally important between those parades and, like you said, the radio and TV ads.
Cool. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know how that market would work with TV now, because I knew Bates Motel a couple years ago ran some TV ads, but I didn't know how successful they were.
It just depends on the market and the region. I mean, it's different for different places in the country.
I've never seen an actual like TV ad for any haunt out there, like watching TV and stuff. I didn't even really know what it is. I know like someone like went on like a news channel and did that, but I've never seen like a TV ad on, like I've seen like trailers on YouTube, but never actually seen one on TV like that. So
the last TV ad I recall seeing for a haunted attraction was when I was growing up in Long Island. So like that was probably at least 5 to 7 years ago. Because essentially everyone's on their phones now. That's where you want to hit them in most markets. In most regions, that's where everyone's at right now. So that's probably why you're not seeing the influx of haunted attractions running their content on TV and radio stations around your area.
Gotcha. What have been your best memories at the Transworld Haunt Show?
I have to see which ones I can actually publicly talk about.
Okay.
Because I mean, what happens at the Marriott, the Renaissance stays at the Renaissance. But I mean, I've been going to Transworld since I was legally able to. What is that, like 14 or 15? So I mean, a lot of my formative experiences were there at the trade shows, and those also Midwest Haunters Convention. But I mean, it's just been, there's been so many experiences. I mean, there is nothing like the networking. The networking is really it for me, because you go in, and especially for me, I'm so just desensitized to everything. I remember walking into that first Transworld, and you walk in, and you know, Gorgle Wars always had that first row. So you're seeing Kevin Alvey's awesome actor-mechatronics and everything, and it's just like, whoa. And then, you know, now like in year 6 or 7 or whatever it is for me, I'm walking in, and I'm like, that again, you know, because you just get tired. It's like you can only see the same Unit 70, and I love Bo. I love Unit 70 stuff. I have so much Unit 70 stuff, even here at my apartment to decorate. It's not even funny. But there's only so many times you can see that Pennywise animatronic reused with a Krampus skin, a Cthulhu they just came out with, you know, an arachnid type thing. I mean, you're just seeing the same stuff, and it's getting really rare in the industry nowadays. And I have my own theory on this, which we'll go into later, with this, you know, where I see the industry going, the change of direction I foresee. But, you know, you go to Transworld, and it's after a while you just see the same thing over and over again. There's not a whole lot of innovation going on now. There's a lot of cool vendors coming out nowadays, like Beastcraft is coming out, and they have incredible stuff. But you know, you're just seeing the same thing over and over. So off of that tangent, your original question, I mean, the networking is it for me. You know, your first time you go to the Transworld, you go to the Darkness, you do the Emperor tour and all that. The City Museum is always a great time, but I mean, there's a plethora of information in those seminars. And I remember my first year with HHE, I actually didn't get to see the show for it all, because from that Thursday through Sunday, or Saturday, because they don't have seminars on Sunday, I was actually in seminars from the moment they opened to the moment they closed. And I made the mistake of not allocating time for lunch, so I was very tired. But I mean, there is just a wealth of information that you can get if you want to learn more about the industry there. But the networking is it for me. The networking, going to the bars, taking walks to Sugar Fire and you know, Bailey's Range, which is probably the best burger I've ever had to this day. Just speaking with these haunt owners, whether they're people that you've known about for a long time, and you know, having a beer with Randy Bates or the Todd and Kelly from Reapers, or people you meet while you're at the show. I mean, there's just a wealth of information that you can get from networking, and that is what I think the true magic of Transworld is the people that you meet and the information you can learn, learning from other people's mistakes, and just communicating. I mean, that's worth the price of trip alone.
Awesome.
So how much acting do you get to do now at Haunted Hills? Or how much do you want to do, and how much do you actually get to do?
How much do I want to do is it's a tough question, because acting is fun. I love acting. That's how I started, but I feel like I've kind of moved past that point in my life. I still do it whenever I can. But right now, I mean, maybe once a season I'll get to throw on a costume and a silicone mask and walk around and manage in character. I did act a little bit for our St. Patrick's Day event. I was one of the greeters for that, and then for our Valentine's, I was kind of a Q-liner. So I was this you know, businessman, deviant who was running around controlling things. So essentially being me, but just a little bloodier. I mean, like my boss, Jackie, my partner and the founder of the Haunted Hills Estate Screampark, she loves me acting. So it's a shame that I can't do it as much, but it's just like, you know, when we have such a high profile operation, you can't go around and have fun when you have, you know, thousands and thousands of people in the park, you know, going around doing things. So
Right.
not as much as I would like, you know, but I do act when I get the chance.
Nice.
So how many photo ops do you have at Haunted Hills Estate Screampark?
At this point, I've lost track because we just have so many cool props and, you know, little photo areas that we have set up, and then we're adding even more this year. And we're adding some really interactive ones too. So you'll have to come and see that when we open. But it's like, you know, we buying so many and acquiring so many giant monsters that essentially the whole place could be a photo op if you really consider it like that.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite photo op?
There's one that's going in this year that's going to be a big surprise. So that's going to be my favorite. But we do have a really cool Scare Factory Impaler that we got from Georgia. And then we have a giant demon that's like 35 feet tall that we got from Pure Terror Screampark in New York. So those are two of my favorites.
Nice. I learned on Haunt Life tonight that you have a massive collection of silicone masks, and I'm curious, what were the most recent additions to your collection?
Some of the most recent additions were last year. I placed an order in the middle of quarantine with the Basement Effects, which I believe they're going through some kind of health problem right now, and they're not producing. But I got a few of their last masks before they took that hiatus, and these things are just absolutely gorgeous. So this is one of my babies. Most of the silicone masks that we use at HHE are actually of my personal collection. I have like 20 or 30 of these guys. But this is I believe it's the Mouth of Madness from the Basement Effect. And this is our character we call the Abomination. So it's got these wonderful kind of Lovecraftian tentacles coming out. And it's really cool because when you're wearing it and you're shaking your head around, it's all like, So, and everyone likes to call it Squidward, which pisses me off. I mean, no disrespect to SpongeBob, but I mean, come on, Lovecraft here. So, yeah. Sit that guy down. So yeah, we have quite a few silicone masks that we use. I'm a huge silicone mask collector. I have CFX masks that have been discontinued, and some of my more recent ones were those ones from the Basement Effects, as well as some ones that I picked up from Bob at Pure Terror Screampark down in New York, which are a bunch of clowns and stuff like that. And a good portion of my silicones actually have been shipped to New York now for our new event that's opening down there this fall.
Cool.
Because you also have a pretty big collection of haunted attraction memorabilia and stuff you've gotten off eBay. And what is your favorite haunted attraction memorabilia that you have in your collection?
For me, it has to be between. I have a framed picture frame of Spooky World tickets from Berlin, Massachusetts in the 1990s. And then I also have a couple of promotional photos from when they were doing stuff with Elvira. It's either between that or a hand-drawn original poster from Rich Hamp's House of the Living Dead on Long Island from late 90s, early 2000s that was gifted to me by my business partner. So that's really cool. That's hanging up in my living room right now.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I will say, though, I do have a big piece of memorabilia that's going to be used at the haunt this year, and it's a massive animatronic that was actually used at the, rest in peace, legendary House of Shock in New Orleans. But I can't fit that one in my living room.
So I saw on the Haunted Hell's Estate Screampark website that you had the Crooked Man inspired FX suit from Global Fear Enterprises. What attraction or area of the haunt do you use to have that character?
That one we actually retired temporarily last year. I'm trying to do some repairs to it because those creature suits take a lot of wear and tear. So we're trying to repair that and get that back into action this season if possible. But we have a couple of those suits from Global Fear Enterprises. They look great. They're highly detailed. And they're really meant to be used kind of in a midway type situation in your queue lines and stuff like that. So we use that as a walk around character.
Okay, cool. You said you have acted at lots of haunted houses. So how many characters have you played over your time, and what was your best scare you've gotten?
I can't tell you the number of characters I've portrayed because, especially when I was running my charity haunt and stuff like that, it would be a new character every night. You know, it would be like, okay, what costumes and masks aren't being used? And one night I'm a clown, the other I'm a janitor. I mean, my janitor character, Ralph, is probably one of my favorites. It's actually a tribute to a close friend of mine who works at Carnage Haunted House in Columbus. And it's this kind of pissed off janitor that walks around. And it's got a shattered effects mask that the carver, so it's really highly detailed. And people love that. I also have, I actually forget the name. It wasn't Damien. Damien was my business kind of mastermind character I did for our Valentine's event. He was the manager of the Love Den. But Cain's the one. Cain is a character I came up with at the end of this season, actually, when I got to act for like half a night. And it's this man baby. And it's the fetus skull mask from Immortal Masks. And Immortal, yes. And let me just tell you, when you go around asking people if they're your mommy and then asking for their OnlyFans, it really freaks them out. and then when you go around yelling into the garbage cans in the park, I want to go home. People kind of they get on edge. They're either laughing or just walking away from you at that point. Prom night dumpster baby.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Speaking of Karen, I don't know if you guys saw, but we actually added a Karen photo op last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got Jason Adcock makes these beautiful face masks that are Karen, and they look like a lot of the people that were in my town in Long Island, New York, which is one of the richest places in the U.S. So Karen Central down there, especially near the Hamptons. But we dressed her up like a Karen. We built a body for her, and she's holding the sign that says, "Are the lines too long? Are you tired of waiting in line? Don't be a Karen. Upgrade your ticket." So it's a photo op and an upsell opportunity, but people like it.
That's funny.
I know you've been to a lot of haunts out there, but what are your top 3 haunts that you would love to check out that you haven't been to?
that I haven't been. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a good section of my employees right now are from Haunted Hills are actually at Midwest Haunters Convention, and they are making me very jealous because they get to go through the legendary Terror on the Fox in Wisconsin. And I am just so jealous. I had them pick me up a couple of shirts because I've always wanted to check out that show. And just from the photos they've sent me, I mean, they told me it's everything that it's supposed to be, and it's the hype is real, you could say. Another haunt that I wish I could check out, I can't because it's no longer in operation. That is the House of Shock in New Orleans. When I was graduating high school, they were doing some kind of GoFundMe or whatever to save it, and they were able to operate for 1 year after that before it was acquired by the 13th Floor Entertainment Group and it became the New Orleans Nightmare. But I was part of that, and like if you did a donation, you got entered into a raffle for free tickets. And I won the free tickets, but here I am in New York, and I'm like, I didn't even have my driver's license yet, so I couldn't see the House of Shock, and now I'll never be able to, unfortunately.
Oh man!
So that's one of the ones it's a bucket list thing. Same with House of Horrors and Haunted Catacombs. They just did their final weekend in Buffalo, New York, and I was not able to make it to that, and I am kicking myself for it because we're doing some stuff here at the Haunt. But on top of that, there's one more that I do want to see, and that is Hell's Gate in Chicago. That was another one where we were building HHE for the rebranding a couple of years ago and their tour of it. So all of our actors went to Chicago and told me, and they've been telling me for years how great it is. And I was there busting my butt in Pennsylvania, helping build the rebranding. So I have to make it out there eventually because I've heard amazing things about Hell's Gate.
Oh yeah, I was actually on that tour, the MHC tour of Hell's Gate, and it was fantastic.
I did get to see Netherworld this past season. This season, actually, I got a lot of mileage on my car. I went to Netherworld, I went to the Dent Schoolhouse, and of course I had to visit, the Haunted Hoochie, which is in Ohio. If you have thick skin, definitely go to it. It's like walking through House of a Thousand Corpses with 20 giant ceiling-tall monsters snatching at your head. I mean, it's just incredible in my opinion. Not everyone likes it. I can understand it's very political. It's very raunchy, but if you ever want to feel like you're walking through a 70s exploitation film, Haunted Hoochie is where it's at.
Nice.
So I've heard that you were working on a new project in New York. Can you talk about that?
Yes, we are. So for many of you who know, I am co-owner of Aurora Interactive, which is an advertising agency which is geared towards haunted attraction clients. We do full service marketing, including we are the first ad agency to ever offer the ARG experience as a form of marketing. So that's a phone game that takes place on social media, via text, via phone call, that your patrons can actually play, and it helps promote your show. You can also offer it as an upsell opportunity too. So you can have people playing in Utah and paying you for it while you're in California or however that is. We did one for Haunted Hills State Screampark during the pandemic, and we had 7 countries worth of participants. We had participants internationally that took part of this and paid Haunted Hills to participate in this game. So on top of that, though, besides the work that we do for our clients, we also can still produce haunted attractions and Halloween events. So it is with my greatest pleasure that we get to announce here today that we are opening a show in Long Island, New York. It's called Dark Night Horror Trail. It opens this October at the Brookhaven Amphitheater in Long Island, and it is so exciting. It's very unique. It's a little bit of comedy horror, and it's a minimalist 90s show. The whole thing takes place in the 90s, and our goal is to really make you feel like you're walking through a haunted attraction from the 90s. You're walking through these desolate areas with ambient, a little bit of ambient lighting, sound, fog, great looking characters, but for the most part, you just have a flashlight. So it's just you, your friends, a flashlight, and whatever's waiting for you out there in that darkness.
Nice.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
That sounds great.
It's definitely going to be a unique alternative to the other shows on Long Island. I've worked for most of the shows on Long Island, and I have to say Long Island is a great place for haunted attractions. Long Island has some really cool haunted houses, and they're all great in their own way. The only thing is, most of them are indoors for the most part. So you're going and you're getting an experience in a warehouse, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's a place for every haunted attraction, and I think most people should go to as many haunted houses as they can in spooky season. But the difference is you go through these, and they're very modern. You know, they're inside. There's a lot of video effects, animatronics. it's overstimulating, if you will. This one, what makes us so different is it's a lot more intimate. This one is just you and your friends walking through this atmosphere and completely and utterly vulnerable.
Nice.
So, yes, we're very excited. It's opening in weekends, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays from October 1st through, I believe, October 1st through the 31st this year. And it's at the wonderful Brookhaven Amphitheater. I think it's the Long Island Community Hospital Amphitheater in Brookhaven, New York. So it's in very close proximity to a lot of hotels and things like that, easily accessible from, I believe, the LIE. And it's a great location, and I hope that everyone comes out this year to go check out our new show. It's got a lot of really awesome characters, a lot of great silicone masks, and if you enjoy 90s horror, you're going to enjoy our lampoon because there's a heavy atmosphere of satire to the show as well. So it's not just scares, you're also getting some laughs in there as well.
Nice.
So I need to put out there that our wonderful marketing clients, Carnage Haunted House in Columbus, Ohio, are doing an event this July 9th and 10th. They are doing Summer Frights Scream Peak. Carnage has existed for a little bit. They've done a couple of years in a smaller location. They took, I believe, 2019 off to transfer locations, and then they weren't able to open in 2020 due to the pandemic. But Carnage is an incredible haunted house, and now it's in a 60,000 square foot former bowling alley with a bar and all this stuff going on inside. The sets are incredible. They have amazing animatronics. Their actors are great. I mean, this thing is just massive. It's like an indoor city of haunted houses. So what they're going to do is this upcoming July 9th and 10th, they are opening the doors for those 2 nights only to walk through one of their 3 haunted attractions, or one of their haunted attractions that they're going to be opening. They're going to do multiple in there eventually. But for this event, they're giving a Scream Peak of just one. And let me tell you, this thing is absolutely insane. You're going to want to come down. They're doing only limited tickets for this. So get your tickets now if you want to take it, the Carnage experience. It's in Columbus, Ohio, but I'm telling you, it's worth at least a 4.5-hour drive. This place is awesome, and you are going to get your money's worth there. So Columbus, Ohio, Carnage Haunted House, July 9th and 10th, Summer Frights Scream Peak. Get your tickets on their website.
Get your tickets now!
That was episode 9 of Fall Informer. And as always, happy hauntings.